I'll say that the first thing, and I'll start with like the less triggering things, and then I'll end with like the more triggering things. But what I wrote down is this just like there was just an overall sense of neglect growing up, where I will have a birthday, and I remember my mom would, like on my seventh birthday, I remember we had a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese's, and I remember filling out the invitations, and other kids had, I'd invited kids in the neighborhood, more like the apartment complex that we were living in. And a lot of kids came. I enjoyed the pizza. I remember the cake was not that great. It was just, it's funny. I think it had like more icing than cake. I remember it just I have to do a video about this dance teacher I had around the age of 16 on and off from the time I was like 15 or 16 to age 20. And this person taught jazz. I don't know if I will give this person's name, but mind you, I wrote a blog post about them, and they found my blog post, and you know, they got angry and sent me an angry message. I didn't read it because already writing about them was triggering enough for me to have to write about a black person that kind of like I could pick up on their weird vibes of not being able to deal with the way I looked. It was just so weird. Like, I mean, the obvious thing of kind of like giving the girls that were either white or mixed more attention than me, all the time, or I just have a lot of examples, and this is like a video in itself, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, because in being able to talk about these things, that means I'm starting to get my voice, so I can really, I can really deal with ninja behavior now in a way I couldn't before. And I say that to say, like, I don't really like that word, but I think that when it's real, and that's really what I was dealing with. Again, it's like the spiritual stuff. So, and when I told my father that this person was bothering me and hurting me, and also I'm darker skinned, this person was light skinned African American, and what I picked up on was that maybe this person was kind of like, this is another video in itself because I have the perception of what this was, and I kind of felt too that there was a colorism thing I experienced with their daughter, who was mixed. Their wife was Filipino. This person's wife was Filipino, of course. Like, I've just put the pieces together that maybe this is a person that is colorist, and maybe they're coming from a specific demographic of African Americans that, when I read about it, or just kind of knowing that there's a paper bag test at Howard and different HBCUs as well. Like I said, I feel like I'm a casualty. I am a casualty with what my experiences have been. So basically, I say that to say, I told my father about this person. I said that this person has done this to me, has been like this to me. And, he just never really stood up for me and protected me, in the sense of calling this person out, maybe if you don't have to rough up the person physically, but verbally rough up the person. Do something that says, this is my daughter. If you treat her this way, I'm gonna F you up, or however it should be. But I just know that there's things that I have seen where I have like intentionally looked for videos where you have a black man protecting, or where you have specifically a black man standing up, like you have specifically a dad who is black standing up for his daughter who is black, and it will be like extenuating circumstances. I mean, you see it in A Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson, who stood up for the assault of his little girl, the sexual assault of his little girl, the trigger warning, the rape of his baby. And this is the way that you would think that a person should be towards, you should be ready. You should be ready to do what you need to do to prove a point. And there's no reason why that person in that movie shouldn't have lost their life. There's just no reason why. And I think that kind of seeing how I feel like people should be protecting you, and seeing how there are people that do that, and it helps me to see that. I just feel so let down that just something that didn't happen. And kind of knowing what I know now, just the importance of getting psychological help, because when you are in circumstances when, like, generationally you are at a disadvantage, and and coming into circumstances that are not of your doing. And this is me kind of talking broadly, because no, it's not. It is about being black, yes, you know, but there are different circumstances that a black person can be born into as well, that puts them at another disadvantage among other black people. And in learning these things, I kind of recognize the importance of getting help, because it's already enough to be overcoming, general obstacles. But when you have other things that really throw a person off, and that's kind of as much as I can kind of feel comfortable saying. Okay, so the lack of protection. Then I have older siblings that um, he did not really bring into the fold. So, and that's given the fact of, like, kind of having the not, the sense of worthlessness, not having the protection as well. Like, them not being treated as children, as his children. And I don't feel comfortable talking about that, because it's very, again, very personal, but kind of recognizing how I realized that I took these thoughts on as well, until as I got older, start to realize, oh gosh, this is not good. This is part of the things that are not healthy, part of the things that, oh my gosh, what harm have I done? Oh my gosh, I've done harm to my older siblings through this thinking process. And this is something I'm even working through now as we speak. But there's this, where it was kind of like biological children and non-biological children, and that's not okay. If you are going to marry a person, then you have to understand that actually comes with things. Unless you don't want that to come with it, then you don't marry a person. It's kind of like up to you. You can decide if that's something that you want to take on, or if that's something you don't want to take on. And